So you go to see a counselor, which there are many kinds. You and your husband, you and your wife, along with your son or daughter, go to see the counselor. The counselor asks you as parent or parents to remain in the lobby while your son or daughter goes with the counselor. The counselor sits in his or her office. I have one here myself. I see people and do counseling. This counselor with your son or daughter sits with your child and talks with him or her. Now, what are essentially the things that a counselor does with a child, with your child? Well, number one, in order for us counselors to be good or to seem to be good at what we do in our profession, we exude some amount of compassion. Apparently, that's what being a good counselor is. Number two, as a counselor, we use reasoning to listen to the child and reason with the child in regard to how we see the situation. As this goes on for about 45 minutes to an hour, and you are in the lobby hoping that all is going well in the session, because living with your son or daughter has become challenging to say the least, because of your child's behavior of being defiant, a sense of entitlement, brazenly speaking against you and right to your face with no concern or conscience about what that is doing to you. That's what's been going on. Then it is time for the session to conclude. What normally happens in the area of private counseling of children who have been acting out and hold a defiance for authority, the child concludes the session, goes his or her way, and the counselor feels a kind of rush that he or she has contributed to the good of the child and has likely helped your family. Then you go your way, leave the building with your son or daughter. Sadly, however, you come to realize that nothing has changed in your child. Earlier, though, however, it is easy for the counselor to feel like he or she contributed to success, to growth, and almost feel a rush that comes over the counselor himself, herself, that something has been accomplished. But nothing is almost ever accomplished with that form of counseling. You see, because your child can appear very handsome, very lovely, and very charming, and can triangulate the counselor against you. If I believe that the parents that I'm working with have not abused a child, but that the child are like many in our current society, very defiant with a sense of entitlement, thinking that there is no entity greater than their reasoning, such a child I never have a private session with. You see, because of what happens in the mind of a defiant youth in that counseling circumstance. When a counselor sitting privately with your child shows compassion, your child in that session and this fantasy world of a sense of entitlement in the mind of your child. Your child converts that to he or she being a victim. And how that is done, mom and dad have brought me to a counselor so that when the counselor shows compassion, that's evidence to me that it is saying mom and dad are not compassionate enough. Or in the second thing counselors do in the private session, tries to reason with the child. In the fantasy world of the mind and the thinking of an acting out youth that is a perpetual victim in order to control others to get his or her way, the child converts that to the counselor is reasoning with me because mom and dad do not know how to reason or are not reasonable enough. This starts a triangle, and it is very common that when parents are taking their acting out youth to many counselors of various levels, both religious or non-religious, behavior of the child seldom gets better but will often get worse. So this, and the purpose of this short video, is to show you what so often happens in private counseling. No, you do not want your child to go sit down with a counselor alone while you sit in the lobby. It undercuts that one principle, that you are the source of all of the reasoning and all of the compassion that this child could ever need at this stage of that child's life. This creates complications to the path of your child recovering from being defiant, fighting you, and maintaining a sense of entitlement. Let's keep continuing with these videos and learn from them, and we're going to move on at some point with what is meant by team approach intervention of turning around your child.
Indian Warm, please welcome Tommy Emmanuel to the Wood Songs Old Time Radio.